Hi, welcome to the next video in the bookkeeping series. This video is on reading a profit and loss. This is one of the most important reports that you have in your business. This shows actually the money flowing in and the money flowing out of your business. It's important to know what your profit and loss shows. After all, you can't trim what you don't track. And if you don't know what your expenditures are and you don't know what your sales numbers are, you can't do anything to improve your financial picture. I am going to be showing you using a demo company. This is a company that I have never done bookkeeping on. It's a sample company. So you're going to hear me talk a little bit about I would have done things a little bit differently. So let me show you how to read a profit and loss. This is the income statement, which is also called a profit and loss, from February 1st till today's date, the date that I'm recording this, which is February 21st of 2017. You can see that they have brought in $17,900 in sales, and they have $840 in cost of goods sold. Now we can drill down into this report and see what this was, and that was product that they purchased right here that they were selling. So we can now see that it cost them $840 to bring in this $7,900, which means their gross profit is this $17,900 minus $840, which gives us this number right here, $17,060. The rest of these expenses show other things that this company spent money on that was necessary to start bringing in the money. This is more of the overhead. If you have a service-based business, more of your cost of doing business is going to be in overhead expenses because there really won't be a lot in cost of goods sold. So we can see that they spent $2,500 in advertising. We can see that they spent $400 in automobile expenses. This could include fuel, oil changes, general maintenance on a vehicle, car washes, and parking. They had $15 in bank service charges, and they spent $4,500 in consulting and accounting. Now, when I do my bookkeeping, I usually refer to that particular expense as professional fees. It's just easier for me to remember because I've done it that way for a long time. They had $14 in dues and subscriptions. Dues and subscriptions are subscriptions that are required for your business. So, for example, if I joined BNI, which is a networking group, I could put that membership fee either under advertising or under dues and subscriptions. If you are in a profession that requires you to belong to certain professional organizations, that money is accounted for here. We have $15 in entertainment. Again, if I'm doing the books, I'm going to change that name to meals and entertainment because a lot of times that is meals eaten out. And you can deduct half of those, at the last I heard, on your taxes. They have general expenses, which is more of a miscellaneous catch-all. Not one that I use very often in my own bookkeeping, but again, this is a demo company. It is not one I have ever done books on, of $118. We have office expenses, which I suspect I would call office supplies, of $75. This is ink, paper, toner, pens, pencils, anything that envelopes, anything like that you use in the office. Not just stationery, but also ink, staples. If you bought it at Office Max, I probably put it under office supplies. We have a payroll tax expense, which is the money that you paid out in payroll taxes. And I would actually put the payroll tax expense underneath wages and salaries so they're grouped together. Anyway, we have postage and delivery, which is exactly what it sounds like. That is stamps, shipping, anything like that. If it's actual freight, if you are developing a product that actually needs to be freighted out, I would account for that. I would call it literally freight and shipping rather than postage and delivery. And postage and delivery implies more of letters. But if you have a product that needs to be shipped, I would call it a little bit differently and possibly even group it under cost of goods depending on your business. We have printing and stationery. Anything that you have printed, business cards, flyers, copies that you need to make, handouts, anything like that, that goes under printing and stationery. Rent expense should be pretty self-explanatory. Telephone and internet, so your internet access and your telephone expense. In my own personal office, I have Xfinity Comcast for my internet, and I also have Verizon for my phone line, and both of those would be grouped here. It's getting a little difficult to unlink those expenses because a lot of us have phones that are voice over IP that you have to have internet for. Fortunately, the days of dial-up are long dead, but a lot of times I often tether my laptop through my phone, so my phone bill gives me internet access. So they're kind of intertwined, which is why they're grouped together this way. Travel expenses those are necessary expenses for your business. I am located just south of Salt Lake City, so if I had several clients in, for example, Seattle that I needed to go meet with or sign up, or there was an actual legitimate business reason for me to go to Seattle, I could put those expenses under my travel. If I just wanted to go to Disneyland with my family, I would have a little bit harder time justifying that. This is for business travel, and I'll talk a little bit more in a later video about what expenses are normal and ordinary costs of doing business. That's what the IRS calls it. Then we have utilities, which is natural gas, electric, anything like that. All the places that I've lived, it has been either natural gas or electric, possibly also sewer and water. And then wages and salaries, and again, I'm not sure I would call that this, but this is your payroll expense right here. So we can see that this particular client, they spent a ton of money on consulting and accounting. And if I was their bookkeeper, I would sit down with them and ask them why that expense is so high. It's half of what they're already paying out in wages, so I would question why this is so high. It's one of the reasons you want to have a good bookkeeper, is so that these things can be questioned. If nobody's asking the questions, you can't get good answers. So I would be asking why this number is so high, and then see if there's a way to track that. If you're paying this much for accounting for 3 weeks of a month, I would highly recommend my service, which is a fraction of that cost. So we can see now that their gross profit was only $17,000, but their expenses were $19,200, which puts them at a loss as of this date. From February 1st to February 21st, they have lost $2,200 in their business. They have spent more money than they brought in. I'm kind of chuckling because I'm like, I can already see two categories where they could adjust that. So that's how you read your profit and loss. This is, again, shows you what your sales numbers are versus what you've had to spend to generate those sales. A good bookkeeper can help you find those categories where your expenses are a little bit out of line with your revenue. Payroll is a big one. Payroll should be 20 to 30% for most businesses. Now, this doesn't mean all businesses, and you should take this as gospel, but a bookkeeper can sit down with you and point out that, you know, if your payroll is 60 to 80% of your revenues, you're probably in trouble. And they can at least point out to you that number is a little bit out of line with your revenues. and then you have the information to make an informed decision on what needs to happen next. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. If you are interested in reaching me for bookkeeping services, I am available throughout the United States, and I would be more than happy to talk to you about your needs. And I'm probably going to do a video on that as well. Again, leave your comments below. I would love to have your feedback, and I will see you next time.